This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important updates to share with you. Joe Manchin and the Democrats are making progress, and the old Build Back Better stimulus reconciliation package should have a vote in July, according to what they said. I'll give you the details on that. Lawmakers are pushing for the $2,400 boost, and Social Security could see a potential 11% boost next year in the COLA. A new $500 child tax credit has just been approved, and two new $500 monthly checks have been approved as well, and I'll give you an inflation report plus some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a terrific Thursday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. And we're still on our family trip. We drove to Florida, and we have my daughter Bella in the corner over here. You can see her over there. So I really wanted to dedicate my time to giving you the updates, since I know you guys really like that. So taking a little time away from the family. But let's get into the news here. So Senate Democrats see major progress on Biden agenda bill. Hope for July vote. So Schumer and Manchin are close to a deal on prescription drug savings. New details obtained by NBC News show. They're also negotiating energy and tax provisions in the bill. So this was the old Build Back Better, which is no longer the Build Back Better, but something else. And it was supposed to be passed initially through stimulus reconciliation. Still might go on the Democrat-only way through reconciliation. So Democrats plan to submit a finalized agreement on allowing Medicare to negotiate prices with pharmaceutical companies to key Senate official in the coming days to see whether it complies with the chamber's strict budget rules, one source said. The source, who requested anonymity to discuss sensitive negotiations between Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin, described the expected move as major progress that shows Democratic leadership wants to move forward with a bill on the floor as early as next month. So looks like July could be it. There's no final deal on the broader bill, however, as other major parts of the reconciliation package, energy and climate policy provisions, and tax changes to raise revenue are still being negotiated. So it looks like they made progress on one part of this huge reconciliation bill, but not really sure what's going on with the others. With inflation on the rise and the midterm elections coming up in just a few months, I think they're probably going to put something in there to get some votes from the public, because Democrats are definitely suffering at the polls right now. Let me know your thoughts on that. Some more information here. Democrats weigh pairing a Biden tax hike to win over Manchin. Discussion ongoing in reducing minimum levies for corporations. Schumer and Manchin debating ACA subsidies, energy spending. So basically, Democrats might have some corporate tax hike reductions to win over Manchin. Basically, corporations wouldn't have to pay as much taxes to kind of get Joe Manchin on board. Still all speculation, nothing final yet. Just wanted to give you the details and updates on that. Moving forward, so lawmakers introduced plan to raise Social Security by $2,400 per year. Wanted to give you an update on this because it was introduced about 2 weeks ago, and at this point, still nothing yet. It's held up in Congress. Not sure what Congress is doing and why they're taking so long, but probably as we get closer to midterm elections, we're going to see something else happen, or at least something big, a bigger move. In terms of other Social Security boosts, so Social Security's cost of living bump could reach almost 11%, according to a report. So basically, according to this, what they're saying is that the new COLA could be as high as 10.8% due to inflation, as inflation keeps rising. Some people are even saying that inflation might cool off. Some are saying it's going to get worse, and it might recover in October, September. We're not sure yet, but the COLA hike at this moment could be as high as 10.8%. To give you some context of other times the COLA has been close to this high. So in 1979, it was 9.9%. In 1980, 14.3%. And then in 1981, 11.2%. So in terms of the COLA last year, or I guess this year, it was 8.6%. And it was 14.3% in 1980. So I don't think getting into the double digits is not too far out of the reality. So it could be as high as 14.3%. Let me know, would 14.3% be enough for you? Should it be 10%? Let me know your thoughts on that if you're on Social Security. And then also Social Security food insecurity, 10% increase in benefits could save 500,000 struggling seniors. Basically, what this article is saying is that just by increasing it by 10%, over 500,000 seniors can help get food, get more things to survive, not be struggling, not have to struggle to pay, whether they have to pay for their car, utilities, or food. So yeah, basically that's what it's saying, that there needs to be an increase in Social Security, which I think most people would agree, especially anyone else on fixed income, low income, SSI, SSDI. We definitely need to help out the most vulnerable people in our society and give them a leg up and help them and stop all the struggling already. Moving on, Bernie Sanders urges the Biden administration to fine airlines $27,500 fine per passenger for worsening flight delays. So basically, with any flight delays, Bernie Sanders wants to charge the airlines $27,000, I guess, to stop the delays. So Sanders wants airline companies to hold up their end of the bargain or face steep fines. He urged big financial penalties on airlines with persistent flight delays over 2 hours, and other Democrats are growing concerned about a summer travel meltdown. So yeah, I feel like people who are able to travel and enjoy travel and flights are definitely a different class of people. They have a little more money. But what are your thoughts on this? Personally, I have no plans to travel on a plane anytime soon. Haven't been on a plane in a while, but $27,000 fine, should that happen? Should airlines have to fine that for any delays? Let me know your thoughts on that. Next up, let's talk about some other stimulus check news here. Stimulus check update, as one state approves $500 child tax credit. So this is going on in New Jersey. So this was approved by lawmakers, and they're going to send $500 payments to lower income families. So basically, this is part of a record $50.6 billion budget that passed in the Democrat-controlled New Jersey state legislature yesterday on Wednesday, and a part of that was a $500 child tax credit for any child under 6 earning less than $30,000 a year. So if you live in New Jersey, make less than $30,000, have a kid under the age of 6, then that's how you get the $500 child tax credit there. Then moving on, we have a couple of $500 monthly guaranteed income programs here. So Madison Forward Fund pilot program will provide $500 monthly guaranteed income for 155 families. So this is in Madison, Wisconsin, going on there for the universal basic income. Then also we have another place, Sacramento, California, guaranteed income in Sacramento, council poised to give 80 families $500 a month. So yeah, that is going on there. It's been giving 100 low-income residents in the county $300 a month through June of 2023, but now I guess with this plan it's going to be $500. So. And then also when it comes to inflation, Jerome Powell, who is the Federal Reserve Chairman, Powell vows to prevent inflation from taking hold in the U.S. for the long run. So what he's saying is on Wednesday at an ECB forum that the U.S. policymakers would not allow inflation to take hold of the economy over the long term, saying there's a clock running here where we have inflation running now for more than a year. And then Powell reiterated his tough talk on inflation in the U.S. that is currently running at its highest level in more than 40 years. So we're hearing a lot of talk. Basically, everything's going to be okay. Inflation's going to go away. They have it under control. But do they? I thought they said that almost a year ago when inflation was starting to go on the rise. But it just keeps going up. Let me know your thoughts on that. Take a look at this video clip right here, giving an objective view of what's going on with inflation and what we could expect for the future.
We talked to you. You had this job. It's almost like with you, we're talking to Milton Friedman. And then we talked to the current chairman of the same organization, Kevin. That's like talking to Paul Krugman. And our viewers are at home just going, they have no idea who to believe at this point. It's gotten so, I don't know, there's talking points, there's spin, there's everything else. What should a normal American think at this point, if they were to just look for an objective viewpoint on what's going on?
Right. I think, Joe, that if you look back to about a year ago, John Cochran and I wrote an article at National Review about the same time that Larry Summers said, inflation is really poised to take off. And it wasn't a partisan point. It was just a sort of careful analysis of supply and demand. There was a big increase in demand coming from all the government spending. And there was a contraction in supply because of threatened tax hikes and heavy regulation. One of President Biden's first moves when he came into the White House was that he made it so new regs don't have to pass a cost-benefit test, something they had to under President Obama and everybody else. And so therefore, the regulatory agencies could just go willy-nilly regulating everything. And in fact, there are more new regulations in Biden's first year than any other president in history. So, that constrains supply. He feeds demand. He complains extreme. Yeah, there we go. Sustains lower supply, and then before you know it, inflation's taken off. And so I don't think it's a mystery. I don't think it's a partisan thing. And I think that there are nonpartisan solutions to it right now that I wish both.
Do you remember the beginning of the Trump administration? Larry Summers said that the move in the stock market, the dropping unemployment rate, the rising growth rate for GDP, said all that was a sugar high. And you guys said Larry Summers has no idea what he's talking about. So now he came out with something about inflation, and now all the Republicans are citing Larry Summers. It's like one of your own. Not your own, but
I was saying this before Larry Summers last year.
Suddenly Larry's right.
Accepting our analysis.
Let me ask you this: How much is just too many dollars printed by the Fed? And obviously, your guy, President Trump, kept browbeating the Fed to keep rates lower and wanted to replace Jay Powell. And so, if it really is the Fed's fault, that did that. I mean, both administrations are guilty, of trying to keep rates too low for too long.
Right. Well, what could have happened? Milton said that inflation is always a monetary phenomenon. And in fact, I think that the Biden stimulus in the end was way too large. And the other spending they did that year with infrastructure and so on was way too much. Fed demand too much. But the Fed could have neutralized that. Like when the Treasury tried to borrow that money to go out and send it to people to spend, the Fed could have said, hey, we're not going to buy that stuff. In which case, the market would have charged really high interest rates for buying that U.S. debt, and that would have extinguished the inflation before it happened. So you can say that it's partly the fault of Biden and partly the fault of the Fed, because the Fed did monetize all that spending, and they could have chosen not to.
And then reopening and COVID and supply chain issues around the world had a lot to do with it. But you're saying that increased regulatory activity in not just energy, but across the board that we've seen since day one with the Biden administration, what that shrunk the supply, and then the demand with the American recovery and all the other spending, that increased demand. So it's just a perfect storm.
Right. And there's also on the labor side, a lot of people got used to being home, especially older folks decided not to rejoin the labor force. So that squashed supply as well. But the fact is that it's just a supply demand story. It's not a Republican Democrat story in the end. And if you want to fix it, then you've got two choices. One, you could ask Congress to try to help, in which case Congress would pass laws to reduce government spending and come up with ways to stimulate labor force participation and capital spending, increasing supply. Or you could have the Fed go it alone. The thing I'm worried about is that right now the Biden administration appears to have chosen to let the Fed go it alone. And by doing that, when the Fed raises interest rates, it certainly squashes demand. So people buy fewer cars, people buy fewer houses, and so on. But it also squashes supply because people don't want to expand their factories and buy new machines because the cost of capital is higher. And so you're creating kind of a downward race between demand and supply to get inflation under control. And that's why when you have inflation this high, the history of it is that central bank policy has given you a very deep recession before inflation was under control. That doesn't have to be. But if you're going to not do that, then you need to get fiscal policy to play along too.
What are your thoughts on that? Is inflation ever going to go down? Should they give out more checks due to inflation, some inflation relief checks? Let me know your thoughts on that. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Belle's tip of the day, and what I want to tell you is always stay happy. Always be glad for your family, because your family is the ones who made you and made you. So everybody, hope you have a good July 4th. Bye! Now?
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time and support. If you appreciate the news, giving it to you straight and doing it while I'm supposed to be on a trip with my family, I just wanted to continue giving you the daily updates. I know in the comments you can hear my whole family is actually here. They're being really good. Kalea's just, a little tired. It's morning time. I usually do my research and filming before everybody wakes up, but couldn't really film anywhere else. But anyways, hopefully you have a great rest of your day. If you want to check out my latest videos, my other channel, you could click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.